When she gets there, she knows all that's glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. Ooh.
Whoa, can't you read the sign? No stairway to heaven in here.
Stairway denied. Because this is American Brews and Tunes.
Yeah!
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
That's right. This is American Brews and Tunes.
Yeah.
My name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
We're back here for another one-off episode. Great fun. Great fun.
It's going to be super great.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I mean, anything could happen. Maybe it's not going to be fun.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but
I doubt it. Highly doubt it.
you gotta keep an open mind for
I'll
even the bad things.
I give it a 1% chance that it will not be fun.
1% still could happen. But either way,
True.
that's like 99% chance it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So let's roll those dice.
You might as well round it up to 100.
Might as well. Anyways, like I said, this is a one-off episode, so we're just going to be reviewing one album and trying one beer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we said last episode which one-off
No, I think we
album this
said
would be.
it's going to be a surprise.
Oh, it's okay. So here's the
But-
surprise. Is everyone ready for a surprise?
If you haven't guessed it by now,
By the
you
title,
don't know that song.
if you don't know that first song, and if you haven't read the title of this
Yeah.
podcast episode, here it goes. Drum roll, please. Wow, we're gonna be reviewing Led Zeppelin 4.
Whoa!
Wow. Sometimes it's
Crazy.
called Zoso. That's what
Why
I
is
used
it, why
to call
is
it.
it called that?
We'll get into it later.
Okay.
But either way, it's Untitled technically.
Technically, yeah.
Sometimes the fourth album, the fourth Led Zeppelin album, Led Zeppelin 4, whatever you want to call it. But it's their fourth release, and we're going to delve into that great album.
I like to call it Led Zeppelin IV.
IV for Roman numeral 4.
Yeah.
That's definitely a choice you could make. I will stick with calling it Zoso, even though that's inaccurate.
Zoso.
It's inaccurate, but that's what I call
Alright,
it, just because it's what I grew up calling it.
I'm interested to learn what that means.
Well, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but it means something.
Okay.
But before we get into what that means, let's get into a different meaning
Yeah.
of the libaceous type.
Oh.
Is that a word? Libaceous?
Libaceous. Yeah, libations is the base. The base of that word? Is that the right?
Well, I knew libation
reason
is a word,
Yeah.
but of or pertaining to libation would be
Libaceous. Yeah. Just like dangerous is of or pertaining to danger.
Correct.
Yep.
There's our grammar lesson for the day.
Yep.
Here on American Brews and Tunes.
We can check that off the list.
Grammar. Did you listen to our last episode also? Just a side note.
No.
I pan the vocals ever so slightly.
Really?
So I'm like on the left and you're on the right, just ever so slight.
Ever so slightly, okay.
Give it a listen after
So
this.
it's like someone's sitting right here listening.
Yeah, so
Funny.
see if you guys like our panning of the vocals. Ooh.
Ooh.
Go ahead, make a nice ooh sound right in the mic. Ooh. Wow.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow, I'm on the right side.
I'm on the left, unless you're wearing earbuds and you flip them.
Yeah, but
Or
why would you
regular
do that?
headphones, because you can. That's
Or
why.
if you're listening in your car. Well, no, then it'll still appear on the right.
Unless you are turning around looking at the back of your car. Anything's
Then
possible.
I'll be on the left.
But back to the libaceous nature of this podcast.
Yeah.
It's getting libaceous up in here.
What is the other part? Beer, right?
It is. We're not talking
Oh.
about tunes for the moment. We're talking about beer. And this brewery is... What is this brewery called?
Is it this
C&A
name?
Veltins.
C&A Veltins.
It's a German microbrewery. The type of beer that it is... Well, I guess I can just say the title of the beer. It's called...
Yeah.
And help me pronounce this because I might get it wrong, but I'm going to say Grevensteiner. Is that correct?
Grevensteiner, yeah. Not Steiner, but Steiner.
Well, I like the Steiner. Grevensteiner.
Grevensteiner.
And it says Natrubes Landbier.
Natrubes Land Beer, yep.
And stylistically, this one comes in as a Kellerweiss or a Zwickel.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lager style beer for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be unfiltered, so there might be some cloudiness in there.
A wee bit. it advertises it on the can. A
Yeah.
naturally cloudy beer.
Would you like me to read the back of the can for everyone?
Sure.
In the 19th century, the brothers Karl and Anton Veltins brewed an exquisite beer in their brewery in Grevenstein, a beer which gained popularity far beyond the borders of their homeland. With Grevensteiner Brewery C&A Veltins, oh, I get it, Karl and Anton, C&A.
C&A, yeah. That makes sense.
C&A Veltins has now continued the story where the brothers left off.
Oh, wow.
Our naturally cloudy Grevensteiner Original is a smooth, rural-style beer, brewed using spring water, freshly harvested hops. Traditional malt gives our beer its amber-colored splendor and full-bodied aroma, brewed in accordance with the German purity law.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And
that's
have we
good.
talked about the German purity law in the podcast?
I
we might have
think on the
mentioned
Hollow
it briefly.
episode, maybe.
The German purity law states that beer can only be brewed with water, barley, yeast, and hops.
Yep.
Nothing else. That law technically isn't a law anymore. I think they repealed it in the 80s. The only
Something
reason
like
I know
that,
that is
yeah.
because when I visited Stone Brewery in Escondido, California, we were asking them because they opened up a new brew
Right.
location in Germany.
Yeah.
And they talked about how you don't technically have to abide by those laws anymore.
But if it wouldn't be, it's not going to be like a traditional German beer, though.
Correct.
If they don't brew by those laws.
Correct. So
Gotcha.
this beer, being a German beer, definitely abides by those laws.
Nice.
Shall we give it a crack and pour
Let's
and
give
see
it
what we think?
a crickety crack.
Yeah.
Give it a smell. Give it a pour.
No. Most of the pictures I've seen of this beer have been in bottles
Yeah.
or on draft. But I was at a place recently in the west side of Nashville called the World Market.
Oh, the World Market.
That's where I was, and they had a lot of beers from different countries.
Really?
Yeah, and so this one just sounded interesting. The thing that caught my eye was land beer. And the picture, it came in a 4-pack box, like a box that held all the cans.
Yep.
And the picture of the beer in a stein made me want to get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I can't fit all 16 ounces in my tiny little glass.
I believe you have a 12-ounce glass, right?
Something like that.
Most likely. Whereas I'm using my half-liter Das Boot.
Your half-liter Das Boot. Yeah.
So my Das Boot should definitely be able to handle all of this. Am I right? You're right.
You are correct.
Now, pouring it in, I agree, it's an amber color, nice orange amber color.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's
not-
as cloudy as
I
like a
mean,
hazy IPA,
yeah,
but it's definitely not
definitely-
clear.
It's definitely more cloudy than a lager, though.
Yes, so it is
It's
cloudy.
like, I can't see my hand through it.
We've just been having so many hazy IPAs
That
that
you're
we're
like,
used
"That's
to
not
that
cloudy."
cloudy. That
Yeah.
we're used to like not being able to see anything through it. So that's
Yeah.
our standards have changed unreasonably.
Yeah, unreasonably.
Anyways, what do you get off the smell on this beer?
It definitely smells...
Like a beer.
Definitely smells like a German beer.
It smells like a German beer.
Like
it's
it's a
hard
really
to
light-
say other than that. You get the sweetness.
So, yeah, a really light, sweet smell.
Mm-hmm. Definitely that bready aroma.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the flavor will probably be spot on too. Shall we give it a cheers and give it a try?
Yeah. And if you're imbibing tonight, that's the right word, right?
Yeah.
Say the magic word with us.
And if you're not, go ahead and grab like a orange soda, like a
Right.
what do you call that? A
Crush.
orange crush, the best orange soda, or you could get a glass of water,
Or
some cow's milk,
something
or
else.
almond milk.
any one of those weird milks.
And if you just don't want to get anything, then raise your hand and pretend you're holding a glass.
And use your imagination.
And if you really don't want to do that, then just listen. And as we always say on American Brews and Tunes, shibbidi-people-dow! Clank.
Clank.
Down the hatch. Pretty spot on with what I was expecting.
Yeah, I agree.
It's good that-
tasty.
it's very tasty. It's a lot more bready and malty than
I like that.
a standard German lager.
Yeah,
that would
I really
expect.
like that kind of thicker breadiness. That's
Yeah, it's
really
nice.
good.
I'm guessing that's what I don't know if that would come from being probably wouldn't come from being unfiltered. Probably just their grain malts that they used.
Yep.
And whatever they did, but this is solid.
It's tasty.
I would get it again
I enjoy it.
if and I would ever find it again. Seeing as I've only seen this one time in my life.
Same here.
Yeah, but I'm happy with it. If I see it again, I would say yes. I'll have one of those Grevensteiner originals.
if you saw it, you'd literally just say, "Yes, I'll have one of those."
Ein Bier, please.
Ein Bier, bitte.
Bitte
Danke.
Bier. Bitte Bier. Danke schön.
Bitteschön.
Guten Tag. This is very good. I'm happy
Hello.
with it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to drink the rest of this beer.
But the reason why I picked this beer because it's a foreign beer, and we're going to be talking about a foreign band.
Oh,
technically. In doing some research, I was watching other people's reviews
of this album.
This album, yes. And there's this one guy who I go back and forth of whether I actually like his channel or not.
Is it the vinyl guy? The guy with the glasses?
No, not him. I like his channel,
Okay.
even though I think he's a little too hypercritical.
Yeah.
He's got good insight, and he reviews things fairly.
Yeah.
There's another one called ARTV.
Mm-hmm.
It's this kid who he probably grew up listening to like pop punk, that kind of stuff, and he's in that phase. But he was reviewing this album, and he's like, I just found out that Led Zeppelin was not an American band. He's like, most people have always thought that Led Zeppelin was an American band. And I was like,
No.
I've never thought they were American,
I've
you
always knew they were
silly.
from England.
They have that song called Custard Pie. It's like, what American would ever say custard, you silly?
Unless it was a custard donut.
But that's okay. I let it slide because he does have some pretty good reviews. And he's got way more followers than us, so he's doing something right. Good job, ARTV guy. Anyways, let's shall we dive into this album?
Yeah, let's.
All right, Led Zeppelin, technically Untitled,
Yep.
came out in 1971, and obviously, like we said, it's their fourth album.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out on the heels of their last album, Led Zeppelin 3. And there were some solid songs on that album. Like, I don't know if you know Celebration Day, but I like to play that one on guitar. And obviously, their widely popular Immigrant song.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, that's really popular. It's like in any like action movie or something like that.
Yeah. But despite that, the album did not do so hot, and critics kind of slammed it.
Their third one.
The third one. Or I don't know if they slammed it, but they definitely didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't reviewed very positively. So I'm not entirely sure if Led Zeppelin wanted to reinvent themselves or maybe distance themselves from the publicity of the third album, but they decided to not title the fourth album. And they decided specifically to not put the band name Led Zeppelin even on the cover of the fourth album.
Oh, really?
Instead, what they did was each of the band members picked a symbol, and they put that inside the album.
Oh, that's what that was. You were showing me that liner earlier.
There's 4 symbols, each picked by the different bands.
Interesting.
I think 2 of them had picked symbols from a book of symbols that mean different things, but most notably, at least in my book, is Jimmy Page's symbol, which is the one that looks like it says Zoso.
Oh.
According to Page, it doesn't actually say Zoso, it's just symbols put together.
Yeah.
And if you take that and look at it, like the Z could be like a squiggle, and then the S is a squiggle with 2 circles around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been cited as being an ancient symbol for Saturn,
Okay.
but who knows?
Interesting.
Apparently it doesn't mean Zoso, but I call it Zoso.
Because it literally looks like
it does look like it says
Zoso.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like Z-O-S-O, Zoso,
Okay.
whatever that means. But the record label was not too thrilled on that. They wanted the band name on there, and they wanted a title.
Yeah.
Because Led Zeppelin was a popular band.
Right.
Back in the day, without a band name on a sleeve, that's kind of...
Yeah, it's not going to like attract anybody's attention.
And I don't even think they put the band name on the spine of the record.
Really?
So if you put it in a shelf, like you'd have to know what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very
That's pretty
interesting.
cool.
The record eventually... Well, it was well received very quickly, but it went on to be the band's best-selling album and one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Really?
The RIAA, that certification board, currently has it tied for 4th of best-selling albums of all time. I think it's tied with Billy Joel's greatest hits.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Selling behind the Eagles' greatest hits, a different Eagles record, which I can't remember, and Michael Jackson's Thriller, I believe.
Yeah. I think
But
so.
still, to be tied for 4th of all time is
That's pretty crazy.
killer.
Yeah.
And it is, in the U.S., certified platinum 23 times.
Holy crap.
I know, so it's...
That's insane.
It's sold a lot.
What is platinum again? Selling over 1 million records?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's saying something.
That's so crazy.
Anyways, this album is very notable for the variety of sounds. If you're just not really a knowledgeable of Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible. you've heard Led Zeppelin, but if you weren't and you heard this album, you would get a wide taste of different sounds. Different genres.
It's not just a straight genre the whole way
It's
through.
not like AC/DC. Like, I love AC/DC, but you're getting that same classic rock sound for most of the songs.
Yeah.
This has got wide varieties from like folk to rock and roll to like even medieval sounds, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so.
And like blues, like, and all kind of stuff in between. So
Very
it's
cool.
It's a very nice mix.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool album. I had never listened to it the whole way through, but I knew like how many songs are there?
8.
I knew 4 out of the 8 songs.
Yeah, which is pretty solid. I was very familiar with 6 of the 8, and I knew 7 of the 8. One I really didn't listen to at all.
Okay.
4 Sticks.
You didn't listen to that one at all?
Not growing up, not that much. I think I skipped over it, but I listened to it for this review.
Yeah.
Shall we dive in?
Let's dive in.
All right. So the very first track, and I guess I didn't give any ratings, but I will pick my 3 favorite.
Okay. I mean, it's probably going to be fairly. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be obvious. Which one's your?
Some are pretty obvious.
I mean,
definitely one. All right.
First track is
the first
Black
track
Dog,
is Black
right?
Dog. Yeah. It was named after this dog that was like in and out of the studio that they were recording at.
Okay.
But also there's some British.
British lingo.
What is I don't want to say symbology or ideology, but
It's,
Black Dog is like negative kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
It's an idiom over there.
I guess more so than the U.S. But this song is kind of about a physical relationship, to say.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, mom, gonna
Hey, mom, is it the way you move? Gonna make me sweat, gonna make you groove.
make you sweat, make you groove. So it's about the physical love.
Yeah.
But that guitar riff is one of the most iconic guitar riffs of all time. And doubled on the bass guitar, which I believe it was written by John Paul Jones, the bass player, multi-instrumental player, fantastic musician all around.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool, that call and response between that guitar riff and the vocals and the verse, because it does that. Hey, mama said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
It's just
is just
good.
a very good way to say it.
Yeah.
And Robert Plant's vocals are
Just always good.
the epitome of like 70s rock and roll.
Yeah.
The high pitched, he can really belt it out, and he can stay in key, and he's got the long hair and the tight pants.
Yeah. And the long hair and the tight pants.
Yeah, it's classic. I don't know how to say it anything other than that.
It's really it's just a good song.
I remember learning this one on the guitar, and I got thrown off by that. I don't think it's a syncopation, but the song mainly is in 4/4, but there's one part where it feels like they do a strange measure. And that part always threw me off, because it seems like they skip a half measure. They do something a little odd there.
Yeah, they just like add a couple beats, I think.
So it's not just your straightforward 4/4 the whole way through, but solid song.
Yes.
Great opener. Shall we move on to track number 2?
Yes.
The second song, and my first recommendation.
Oh, you didn't recommend that last one?
I did not.
Interesting.
Thought about it, but there was 3 other ones that I decided to choose more.
Okay.
And I didn't want to pick 4 like I normally do, because there's only 8 songs. But the second song and my first recommendation is Rock and Roll.
Rock and roll.
I only learned upon researching this album that this song grew out of the drumming and the jam portion of Keep a Knockin' by Little Richard.
Oh, really?
You keep a knockin', but it can't come in. You know that song?
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to it, it kicks off with the drums.
Yeah.
Very much like how this song kicks off with the drums.
Interesting.
And apparently they used to jam to this song, Led Zeppelin, and it kind of grew out of that, them like jamming it and screwing around on it.
That's pretty cool.
But this song is a rager
Yeah.
of a song. It's just real fast, real upbeat, and super high energy. Lyrically, I don't think it's that deep.
No,
It's
it's
about
just
the
like,
love of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like a homage or an ode to the rock and roll of the 50s.
Times it's a rock and roller. Yep.
I love that. Been a long, lonely time.
Yep.
I like that, and I really like the part in the outro when he's like, he does that high-pitched high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, I don't know why, but I just love that part.
I know.
I think that was in a car commercial, unfortunately, but
Really?
but that's okay.
It's like one of those songs that you just enjoy listening to.
I think everyone enjoys this song. How could you not?
Yeah.
And it's been played all over the place. I'm sure it's a live staple of their show. How could
Yeah.
it not be?
Right.
I remember seeing them. I don't know if it was them specifically. I think it was back when. And I could be this could be all incorrect, but did you ever listen to them, Crooked Vultures?
No.
It was Dave
Isn't
Grohl, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, and John Paul Jones.
Oh,
They had their
okay.
own kind of rock group. I think they covered this once,
Okay.
but I could also be very wrong.
Right.
So I don't want to say that, and I'm going to retract that statement.
Well, I was gonna say you've already said it.
I've said it, but I retract it.
Retracted.
And with that retraction, let's move on to the third song.
Sounds good to me.
This third song on this album is called "The Battle of Evermore."
Mm-hmm.
Mandolins.
Yeah. So many mandolins.
This song is way different than the first two.
Very different.
And this is the medieval sounding song,
like
in my opinion.
the medieval folk sound.
Like I imagine the what's it called? Like the Renaissance fair. Like I imagine that, and people are dressed up in armor and all
Yeah,
kinds of weird
and-
garb, eating a turkey leg,
Or a mutton leg.
mutton leg.
And this is
people are-
like, what is this? Just like a bard singing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like a recount of a battle, the Battle of Evermore.
Yeah, and there's a guest vocalist, Sandy Denny, who is from the band Fairport Convention. I guess they had toured together with Led Zeppelin, but her voice is a nice addition to Robert Plant's. It's a nice I don't want to say counterpoint, but it complements it well.
Right, yeah.
Apparently, Robert Plant wrote the lyrics to this song when he was reading about the Scottish Independence Wars. And when I think of Scottish independence, I think freedom.
You think Braveheart?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot of Lord of the Rings imagery in this song.
There definitely is. I think, doesn't he mention ring wraiths?
I think he's something like that, but he also references Queen of the Light, which would be...
Galadriel?
Yes, I was drawing a blank on her name.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that there's so much Lord of the Rings reference here.
I
They
know.
love Tolkien because
Yeah.
he's
I mean, he is from England.
a hero of the Brits, would you say?
He was, yeah, definitely.
Very good writer.
He was a World War I veteran, author, and
just all-around smart guy.
yeah.
Shall we move on to a big song? Number 4?
Which one would that be?
It is The Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven.
Not but Stairway to Heaven.
Probably their most popular song
Probably one of the most popular songs,
ever.
arguably.
Yeah.
Not just rock song, but I'd say
Just song in general.
This is my second recommendation, obviously.
Yeah.
I couldn't not recommend it.
I mean, you can't not.
This song's huge.
Yeah.
How
It's
long
so
is it?
good.
I don't know.
I think
It's over
like
7 minutes long.
7.5 minutes, 8 minutes.
And I don't think there's a radio edit for the radio. They play it in
Really?
its entirety, I believe. And don't
Well,
quote me because I could be wrong there.
I mean, you can't do a radio edit of Stairway to Heaven.
You could, but it would just not
It
do
wouldn't
justice.
work. It wouldn't work though.
Yeah. This song kind of ranges that acoustic sound to the
Starts
classic
off
rock
acoustic.
and roll sound
Yeah.
to even like the headbanging heavy rock sound in the
Yeah.
end. Like the and when we die winding down the road. But I heard some guy reviewing this album, and he's like, this song is a stairway of like crescendos almost.
Yeah.
Because it starts off so soft with that arpeggiated guitars, and it builds
Yep.
up.
Just
And
continues to build the whole time until the end.
I always thought it was a keyboard instrument, like accompanying the arpeggios at the beginning, but it's recorders
Oh.
that are harmonizing with each
right.
other,
Yeah.
played by John Paul Jones.
Really?
He also he plays keyboards, he plays bass, he plays so many
Wow.
instruments on here. It's just crazy because when I listened, I was like, these are recorders. That plastic instrument that you learn in elementary school.
Yep. Did you ever take recorder lessons?
I never did, but I've played them for fun
Mm-hmm.
because they're just fun sounding and they're goofy.
Yeah, we had to take recorder lessons.
Anyone can play them. But it builds up, and the full band comes in, builds up even more, and then the guitar solo. Oh my goodness, the guitar
oh
solo.
yeah, it's so good.
I think I read that Jimmy Page had laid down 4 different complete takes of the guitar solo and was really stressing over which one to pick.
Really?
Obviously, the one that they have in the song is the one he picked.
Yeah, and it's great.
It is great. There's a lot of
superb
iconic
solo.
lines
Yeah.
in that song. But then, like I said, there's that heavy rocking part in the end as we wind down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it cuts out and they have the acapella, and she's buying the stairway to heaven. Great song.
Yep. Fantastic
The
song.
Record label wanted to push this as a single, but the band was like, no. So the label probably was really...
Was really pissed
Yeah, because
at them.
the Led Zeppelin 3 didn't do super hot.
They're like, listen, you got to listen to us.
The Led Zeppelin didn't want to make a title or put their band name on there, and they didn't want to push this as a single. I'm surprised that they got away with that, but
Yeah.
they did because it's Led Zeppelin, I guess.
Funny.
But on this song in particular, Robert Plant had recalled that he didn't think the song was going to be huge. Like, he's like, I didn't think it was going to be that big. Like,
Wow.
it was just a song. And they wrote most of the lyrics in one sitting, him and Jimmy Page. And there are accounts where their tour manager had to hold up cue cards in the front of the stage with the lyrics because Robert Plant couldn't remember all of the
Really?
lyrics. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of
hilarious.
verses in here. and
Yeah, there are a
there's
lot of verses.
A lot of random things that he says. But
Yeah.
can you imagine like a rock and roll show in the 70s where the tour manager's sitting there just holding up the lyrics?
It's like, here you go.
That's just
too
so
funny,
funny.
man.
Yeah. But I like playing this. Did you ever learn this on guitar?
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
I learned it. That's one of the songs that I learned whenever I was first learning guitar. I was like, what song should I learn? And then I was like, Stairway to Heaven. Duh.
Classic.
But I've forgotten how to play it since because I haven't brushed up on it.
I have never forgot. I have not, however, learned how to play that guitar solo.
No, neither have I. I don't even really know if I plan to learn to play that guitar solo.
I wanted to at one point in time, and then I just never tackled it.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm feeling bold one day and have like a lot of time to kill.
Yeah.
But probably not. And I know you were referencing that Wayne's World thing earlier, right? Is that what you were
What?
referencing? The No Stairway?
Oh, yeah.
That's for all you who haven't seen Wayne's World.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie where he goes to buy that white Fender,
Yeah.
and he pulls it out of the case that they have it in for some reason, and he starts playing the opening arpeggio to Stairway to Heaven, and some guy's like, "No!" and he points to a sign, and the
Read
sign on the
the
wall
sign.
says, "No Stairway to Heaven," and what's his name, Mike Myers, who's playing Wayne, says, "Stairway denied." It's so stupid, but it's so funny.
And he has like that dumb look on his face too.
Stairway denied.
Denied. So
What a great movie.
ridiculous.
That part
Love
in the Bohemian Rhapsody are like the best,
Yeah,
the best
so
parts in
good.
that one. There's a lot more that we could say about Stairway to Heaven. It's the centerpiece of the album. And probably sure it's the centerpiece of their show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
It takes up most of this side of the record, and it's the last on the A side. So
Yep.
let's just flip it to the B side, shall
Let's flip it. Flip.
we? Track number 5, the first song of the B side is called Misty Mountain Hop,
Misty Mountain Hop.
and it's my last recommendation.
Oh really?
I love this song. I have never learned to play this song. I just love the keyboard part that it starts out on.
It is a pretty cool. It's really
it's
cool
like
sounding.
That electric keyboard played by John Paul Jones.
John Paul
Because he's
Jones.
played everything on this record.
JPJ.
He plays everything other than the guitar, drums, and vocals.
Yeah.
But he plays a lot. But I just like that keyboard part. That down, 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 down. It almost sounds like a Rhodes. No, I don't know if it's a Rhodes or it might be a Rhodes keyboard. I don't know what it is, but it's just really cool sounding. And then they kind of double that on the guitar, and then eventually harmonize it on the guitar.
Yeah.
And it just sounds really cool.
That's super nice.
Lyrically, this song is about like going out and doing some drugs with buddies, and then having cops come up and
Yep.
ask questions about it.
And then a subtle.
Walking down the other day, and when I tell you what I saw. He does that thing where he like stutters the words, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's a great song. I really don't know. Oh. But great song, and it's just really catchy. And how could you not like this song? I feel like if you put this song, even if it's just a background song, no one would have a complaint.
Yeah. Subtle reference to Lord of the Rings as well.
I would say so too, based on the Misty
Misty
Mountains
Mountain.
above the mines of Moria,
Curious.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
They were supposed to take the
Misty Mountains.
Were they going to travel via the Misty Mountains to take the ring back?
I
But
think
they
so,
couldn't
yeah.
because-
Or they were up some mountain and then Saruman, the bad guy, was like, "Oh, throw lightning down on the mountain clouds. There's going to be an avalanche. The dwarf shall sink."
And the dwarf's like, I'm sinking. That's not what happened per se. But the door's
Not
like,
quite.
let's go down to the mountains. Even the women have beards. Let's go celebrate in the mines of Moria.
Is your like dwarf impression?
I don't know. I can't do a dwarf impression.
Celebrate in the mines of Moria.
I'm glad I didn't write Lord of the Rings because it would have turned out way. Peter Jackson would have never. He would have been like, "This script is terrible. We're not gonna do this."
You would have been Saruman saying, "Let lightning come down."
I'm sinking. And get up and be like, "Quick, rescue that dwarf before he drowns in the snow." And Frodo's like, "How can he drown in the snow? It's frozen." And Sam's like, "Yes, Master Frodo's right." And Gollum's like, "Come to the mine, me precious."
Oh my god.
Oh man, I gotta go back and watch all of those other than the Hobbit movies. I love those movies.
Extended editions.
Great films,
Are
great
much
films.
better.
If you guys haven't seen them, do yourself a favor and watch them. You won't be disappointed. If
Unless
you're
you
disappointed,
really hate
I
fantasy
apologize. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
But let's move on
Yeah, let's.
to a big change again. Track number 6 is called Four Sticks.
4 of them.
And why is it called Four Sticks, you ask?
Because the drummer used 4 sticks.
Yeah, John Bonham. What a great drummer, R.I.P.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 in each hand he played because he wanted to get a big, big sound out of them drums.
Interesting.
And it's a really cool drum beat. It drives kind
It
of
is,
throughout
yeah.
the whole time. It's a tom centered drum beat.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because they switch between a 5/6 and a 5/8
And a
time
6/8?
signature and a 6/8, and they go back and forth and vice versa.
Yeah.
The instrumentation's difficult, and it took them many, many, many takes to get it right.
Really?
And from a couple different sources that I've looked up, they only ever played this live once.
Really?
Yeah, I think Robert Plant may have done like acoustic versions of it on a solo tour.
Yeah.
But as far as Led Zeppelin goes, full band, they've only done it once.
Interesting. I suppose, yeah, because it has the 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2,
And I don't even think it's consistently going back. I think it switches.
No, yeah, it's
randomly,
like
too.
it's a decently consistent pattern.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a rhythm-centric guy, then you can really
Yeah.
keep up with it. But it's cool to have something that's a little more technical thrown in there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something less technical.
Okay.
Track number 7 is called Going to California.
Going to California.
And this is a folky song.
Mm-hmm.
The only other song that doesn't have drums other than the Battle of Evermore.
I actually really like this song.
I do too. It's a really good song. It's acoustic, and it's, again, more like folky and storytelling.
Yeah.
And this song is about leaving a bad relationship in search of the perfect woman in California.
Yeah.
And apparently it was inspired by Joni Mitchell. She's also an artist.
Oh, really?
Apparently
interesting.
Robert Plant and Jimmy Page were like obsessed with her. And I
Really?
don't know if that means like they're obsessed with her because she looked good or if they loved her music or her,
Yeah.
like, her.
They were. Bottom line is they
all around.
They liked her.
And so that's what it was about. And I think this song is like just has a really awesome subdued sound, especially compared to everything
Compared to
else.
everything else, yeah. Even compared to the Battle of Evermore.
Both those are the two like acoustic-y songs.
But that one's still.
Each of these two songs are so different.
Yeah, the Battle of Evermore is still like more.
That I would hear at a
Aggressive.
Renaissance fair.
It's like more aggressive sounding.
This you would hear in a hippie circle.
In a hippie circle.
Yeah.
Or in a hipster circle today.
True. Well, hipster could mean so many things. It's
True.
It's more than just the boot wearing, skinny jean, coffee drinking, bearded guys.
Yeah.
Even though that's the classic hipster. But there's
classic
hipster
hipster.
just it encompasses a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for a different podcast that doesn't involve us.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the last song.
Let's.
And they leave you with a big hitting song again.
Yes, they do.
Track number 8, the last song on Led Zeppelin 4, So, Ivy, whatever you want to call it, is When the Levee Breaks.
Man,
Great song.
I love this song.
I thought about recommending it, but I just want to pick some other ones instead.
Yeah.
This is a remaking of an older song. They didn't write it, but they reworked it and I think added some stuff. But the original is by, and I like this name, it's a duo. It's Kansas Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie. I love that name. And I haven't actually listened to the original, but I'd like to give it a listen. There's a lot of awesome effects on this song, like production effects. Like even the harmonica is backwards. It's a reversed harmonica.
Oh, really?
And I couldn't really tell that upon listening. It sounds different or else distorted, maybe.
Well, yeah, it definitely sounds. A lot of I mean, even the drums and the guitar and everything sounds different and special.
Mm-hmm. The drums are, I think, the best part of the song because it's
Yeah, that's what starts off
It's
the song,
big
and it's just like
and huge,
awesome, yeah.
and it sounds like you're sitting in front of the drum set if you listen to it.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to any high fidelity version, it's like you're there. It just sounds so cool. Apparently, in the lobby of where they were recording is where they set up the drums for this song. So it wasn't even like a drum booth or an isolated booth or anything. They set it up in the booth, and they had to hang microphones from a stairwell to get this sound.
Yeah, I remember. Isn't there a documentary on Led Zeppelin?
I'm sure there's tons of documentaries on Led Zeppelin, but this one's very well documented. They ran them through a condenser, and that was pretty much it. But they also used a little bit of delay on those recordings. And if you listen to it, it does sound different than all the rest of the drums on the album. It's just specifically for this. And those drums are iconic. They've been sampled by a lot of rappers, used in other songs.
Yeah.
Especially the first song on the Beastie Boys, acclaimed album, License to Ill.
License to Ill.
Great album.
Yeah.
But like the guitars are really awesome sounding. It just, this song has like a bluesy, almost R&B rock and roll feel. As far as rock and roll goes, this is way different than the rest of the other rock and roll songs on this album.
It's not straight rock and roll.
No, it's different. But it's a jam. Well, I wouldn't call this a jam. I would call this a groove.
Yeah,
it's more
definitely.
of
Yeah,
a groove
I would definitely
than
agree
a jam.
there.
Yeah,
way more of a groove.
But it's really, really a cool song and a great way to end the album.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess I'm not gonna qualify myself as a Led Zeppelin expert.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near
I know
one.
pretty much all the big songs. If you give me a greatest hits, I probably know every single song on there.
Yeah.
I know a couple more deep cuts, but I really haven't listened to every album the whole way through.
Yeah.
Or not even like their first 6 albums, which are probably the biggest ones. I should. But from what I've listened to, this is my favorite album.
Okay.
I think this is consistently the best.
Yeah.
1 and 2 are 2 is probably the next best in my opinion.
What's on that album?
They got a ton of great songs on that album, like "Whole Lot of Love,"
good one.
Which when a whole lot of love,
Want a whole lot of love.
Moby Dick, which is another big drum song for John Bonham.
Cool.
Ramble On,
Ramble On, Ramble On,
and Heartbreaker.
Okay, nice.
Bow, do, 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 do.
Oh right, yeah.
So it's a great album, but they've produced plenty and plenty of good albums.
Yes.
Even Led Zeppelin 3 is a good album, guys. Forget the critics of the 70s. I'm sure actually that retrospectively, like if someone was to do a re-review or a contemporary review, it would get much better reviews than when it originally did.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, context of time or whatever.
Interesting.
But back to Led Zeppelin 4.
Just a fantastic album.
Holds up. I
Yeah,
can still put this on and be happy.
Definitely.
I have this one on vinyl because when I was moving to Nashville, it was after I moved to Nashville, I got a record player for Christmas.
Ooh.
Thanks, Dave and Cheryl. Not the best one, but it was definitely a good starter record player.
Right. Yeah.
And I had just a few records that I had bought years before because I was at this place in Pittsburgh called Record Rama, which was going out of business. And all of the records were $0.25 a piece.
Wow.
So I'm going to try and remember all 4 I bought because I only had $1, so I bought 4.
Nice.
I bought Cheap Trick's Live at Budokan.
Okay.
Great album. I bought Deep Purple's Machine Head. I bought Kansas Leftoverture.
Nice.
And Boston, the first album.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that's what I bought. And when I got my new turntable, I think Becca had actually bought me an album for Christmas that year, The Swellers, Light on the Closed Doors.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Pittsburgh and I asked my dad, is there any records you don't listen to anymore? He's like, go pick out a couple and I'll let you know if you can have them or not.
Yeah.
And this was one of the ones I picked.
Nice.
He's like, yeah,
and he
take
was
it.
like, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So I was happy with that. He said, I definitely didn't ask about any of the Beatles because
Yeah, I know. He likes the Beatles a lot.
Blink-182 is to me as Beatles is
Art
to
to
him.
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Funny.
So I have this on record. It sounds great, even for being old.
Yeah. Is that an original pressing?
I don't know. The album came out in 1971. My dad would have been 11. So, I mean, that doesn't mean it's not.
He could have.
He could have got it original still, but it's definitely from the 70s. I don't know if it's the first pressing, second, third, but it's definitely a 70s pressing of
Okay.
Led
Gotcha.
Zeppelin 4. Next week, though,
Next week is...
we're going back to regular schedule.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you're listening to?
I'm listening to a Wilhelm Scream album, Career Suicide.
Correct. And I'm listening to MGMT's album, which is called...
Oracular Spectacular.
Yeah, I can't
think.
remember that one. It's the one that has all their big songs on it. I know they've released albums since, but
Yeah.
all the songs I think are bigger off this. This is their big breakthrough.
I've listened to some of the later albums, and I definitely like this one more.
Is that kind of like...
Like they go. It's kind of like Boss of the People.
I was about to reference them,
Like
yes.
their first album was really good, and then
They hit the sophomore slump.
well, yeah, you could say that, but it's like they try to go away from like writing like the super generic catchy songs. Like they want to like write the way they want to write,
I can understand
and then
that.
people don't like it as
But
much.
when you come from being like that, if you do such a drastic change, people are going to complain.
Yeah, because I'm sure that even if you guys haven't listened to that album, you probably know like Time to Pretend and Kids.
But
and
you know they had to change some.
yeah.
But we are in December right now.
Yeah.
And looking forward, both of us are going home for Christmas, so that means less recording time.
That's recording time, yep.
So we're probably going to do another one-off after that, and I think we're going to do a Christmas special.
Oh, a Christmas special.
Here's what I think. I think we should review maybe one or two Christmas beers on that. Like I'll bring a Christmas beer,
Oh,
you bring
okay,
a
yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
beer,
yep.
we each go Splitskis,
That sounds good.
and we should bring forward our 3 favorite Christmas songs of all time.
Okay.
Is that
good
is that a
idea,
fun
yeah.
one?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll do that.
It'll be kind of a fun little, I guess, one-off maybe.
Yeah, so definitely next week will be the regular one, and then I think after that will be the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. That sounds good.
And then after that will be another one-off to be determined. Surprise, surprise.
TBD.
So I don't know if that means another classic album or it's just another album that we both like.
Yeah.
Who cares? Live life.
Who cares? Live life, have fun.
Don't hurt other people.
Yeah, don't hurt people.
Final thoughts on the beer?
It's gotten better as it's warmed up, in my opinion.
Yeah, the malts come through much more as it warms up.
Yeah. It's nice.
Hop wise, I'm not really getting too terribly much of a bitterness at all.
Not at all for me either. It's unless you want to count the malty sweetness that kind of has a slight bitter tinge to it.
Perhaps. I'm sure that's probably the hops. 'Cause
Yeah.
They have to balance out, otherwise
Right,
it would just be a sweet
true.
bomb.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm happy with this. You want to
It's well balanced.
give it a cheers and sign off for the week?
Cheers and sign off.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't listened to Led Zeppelin 4,
Go listen to them.
yeah, go listen to it. You've definitely
Super
heard
good.
plenty of the songs on here.
Oh, yeah.
Do yourself a favor, listen to the whole album.
And if you haven't heard Stairway to Heaven, you're crazy.
Shame on you.
Actually, yeah.
I know if you're have access to a radio and you're in the modern times in America, shame on you. If you're living under a rock, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, that slide.
Back to the beer. Let's give our cheers. Down the hatch.
So tasty.
Very tasty.
Very tasty.
Once again, my name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews and Tunes.
I will call an avalanche down onto the hobbits.
I'm speaking. Back to that. Oh, Frodo.
Is that your Gandalf voice?
Frodo.
Oh, Frodo.
Don't let the dwarf sink.
Frodo, grab him by the beard. Nobody touches my beard.
And Legolas is like this. I won't. I'll let the dwarf sink. I cannot touch a dwarf.
I cannot touch a dwarf.
My pale skin is too fair.
And
He cannot look upon my golden locks.
And Boromir's like, where's that ring?
And
I need it.
Aragorn's like, I'm a secret king.
And all the hobbits are like, when's breakfast?
Breakfast already happened. Like, we know first breakfast happened, you ding dong. We're talking about breakfast.
You dingleberry.
Bye, you guys.
Anyway.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity beeby da.